What if the first genocide of the 20th century wasn't committed by the Nazis, but by Germany before the Holocaust even began? Between 1904 and 1908, in what is now Namibia, German colonial forces carried out a campaign so brutal that many historians call it the first genocide of the modern era. Yet most people have never heard of it. This is the story of the Herero and Nama genocide and why it still matters today. At the end of the 19th century, Germany claimed a colony in southern Africa known as German Southwest Africa. European settlers seized fertile land, took cattle, and imposed harsh labor systems on the indigenous Herero and Nama peoples. Traditional livelihoods collapsed. Resistance grew. By 1904, tensions exploded into open rebellion. Germany's response would change history. German General Lothar von Trotha was sent to crush the uprising. His strategy was not negotiation. It was elimination. Von Trotha issued an order declaring that the Herero people were to be driven from the land. Any who remained men, women, or children were to be expelled or destroyed. Survivors were forced into the Omahik Desert, where access to water was deliberately cut off. Later, those who lived were placed into concentration camps, a term that would gain global infamy decades later. This was not accidental violence. It was policy. By the end of the campaign, a vast portion of the Herero population was gone. The Nama people suffered a similar fate soon after. Exact numbers are still debated, but the destruction was devastating enough for historians to agree on one point. This was genocide planned, systematic, and racialized. Entire communities were shattered. Land was permanently taken. Trauma was passed down through generations. One of the most controversial debates surrounding the genocide is this: did it influence the Holocaust? Some scholars argue that methods tested in Namibia, racial ideology, camps, forced labor, and bureaucratic killing foreshadowed later Nazi crimes. Others caution against drawing a direct line. What is undeniable is that this genocide reveals how racial violence was normalized within European colonial systems long before World War II. For decades, this history was barely mentioned outside academic circles. Why? Many argue it was ignored because the victims were African and colonial violence was treated as ordinary, not criminal. Others point to Germany's later focus on Nazi crimes, which overshadowed earlier atrocities. But forgotten does not mean erased. In recent years, Germany has formally acknowledged the genocide and entered negotiations over reparations. For descendants of the Herero and Nama, recognition is only the first step. The deeper question remains: what does justice look like more than a century later? The Herero and Nama genocide forces us to confront an uncomfortable truth. Modern genocide did not begin in Europe. It was practiced, tested, and normalized in the colonies. And remembering it isn't just about the past. It's about who history chooses to remember.